Welcome all of you to this webinar. We have a quite interesting topic today, I would say. We are going to talk about robotic pouches or STERIKING pouches for robotic instruments, to be more precise. We have been selling these now about 2 years to some of the markets, and in some markets it's a little bit more new. And we have received a lot of good feedback from those, and people like these a lot. And now we would like to make sure that all of our distributors are aware of the product, and then that you would be knowing the main sales arguments for this product. And we're going to have 3 presenters today. First, it will be Hanna Marttila, our product manager for STERIKING branded products, who is going to tell you some of the things about robots and the instruments there. And then she will be followed by our R&D manager for STERIKING products, Tommi Kauri. And then in the end, I'm still adding some of the selling points from sales side. So my name is Jyri Mäkinen, and I'm working as a global sales manager for STERIKING branded products. Welcome all of you. I need to mention in the beginning, even though I know that there is limited number from United States, that some of the claims that we are making in this presentation might not be valid in United States. So you know the differences, what are there, but just wanted to mention it in the beginning.
Today's topic. First, let's start with the background. So the Da Vinci is a robotic surgical system which is made by Intuitive. The system enables less invasive and precise surgeries. You may see it from the picture on the right that the system has 4 robotic arms, 3 for the operation and 1 for the camera. So the surgeon is controlling these from the console seen on the picture also upright. Next, please. So one of these robots is costing around 2 million euros. The controls are seen on the top right picture, and there's also a better picture of the robotic instruments on the bottom right. Thank you. So about the actual robotic instrument, one instrument is usually costing about 3,000 euros. It's around 60 to 70 centimeters long, and they are sterilized by steam. There is a note that the optics is sterilized by H2O2, but that is a side note just to clarify the situation. One of these arms can be reprocessed around 10 to 20 times. Overall, there is 5,500 units worldwide, and with these, around 1.2 million operations performed annually. So here we would talk about the current way of packaging of these instruments. So there is 2 mainly used methods. One method is that multiple instruments can be placed and wrapped into a reusable tray or container. When we pack multiple instruments into one packaging, all the instruments need to be reprocessed regardless if they were used in the operation. This method is slightly more common. There is usually packed 4 to 8 instruments in the same tray or container. So with this, the reprocessing cost can get quite high. The actual reprocessing means around the devaluation of one instrument by 1 to 400 euros. And then the second method is that the robotic instrument would be wrapped in 1 by 1 in sterilization wrap or pouch cut and sealed from a roll. This can be also done as a single or double packaging. But this method is quite time-consuming, and there is a risk that the instrument can cut and compromise the barrier of the sterile packaging. So we want to highlight also that the robotic instrument can be reprocessed only limited number of times. Here is to show that the instruments are undergoing a deep cleaning procedure in many steps before the sterilization and packaging. So the key points are that the STERIKING pouch for robotic arms has been developed based on the customer needs to be a more efficient way of packing and than the current packaging methods of any long medical instruments. But Tommi will tell you more about this in the coming slides. So there was a need for a simple but efficient packaging method for long medical instruments. With this pouch, we are offering cost savings by less unnecessary devaluation of the instruments, therefore less reprocessing as the product remains sterile in the pouch even if not used. And it is also a faster way of packaging, and the strong materials is protecting the barrier properties and also the instrument packed inside. So it's also giving this improvement in efficiency in the hospitals. You can see it from the picture on the left, how it's sealed before the sterilization, and the picture on the right, how it's opened and may be used in the operation. So the STERIKING pouches can be used also for packing other long instruments. The pouch can be used for all challenging items that require strong packaging and steam sterilization. Some typical applications are laparoscopic instruments, guide wires, long sharp items, long notcher instruments, or surgical rods. So these products are manufactured here at Nastola, Finland. There is a little bit more snow here now, but the summer is on its way, and this is how our factory would look in the summertime. So also the film used in the STERIKING pouches and reels is produced here at Nastola in our extrusion line. The products are converted in our clean room, and by producing the materials and pouches ourselves, we have good quality controls throughout the manufacturing phases. This was my slide, and now I'm going to give the stage to Tommi.
Thank you, Hanna. So hello on my behalf, my name is Tommi, and I'm going to present you the evolution of the pouch for long robotic instruments. So a few years back, it was identified from the market. There is a clear need for packing long instruments, which are used in robotic assisted surgeries. Then our host, Yuri, our global sales manager, approached with a new product request, and the development phase of the product started following day. Initial requirements for a package were its need for extra protection along the whole chain from sterile processing department to the operating room due sharp tips and edges of instruments. In addition to this, it had to bear in mind the devaluation topic of the precious instruments once they are processed. Because of all these, we ended up to a heavyweight paper version of an exceptionally long pouch for steam sterilization, which is also designed for double pouching. Processing in steam will set certain requirements for the paper, like fulfilling the standard EN 868 Part 3, but also requirements for the whole package for complying with ISO 11607 and the standards like EN 868 Part 5. Furthermore, it would be important to have a steam process indicator printed on the pouch outside of the packing area. As we have a wide spectrum of medical grade papers tested in-house and experience how do they work, we decided to proceed with the most promising one, a grade which was offering really good properties in all aspects. And next, please. What is the solution then? It is a pouch made of 100-gram reinforced paper, which is offering very good mechanical properties, numerically speaking, 100% higher tensile and tear strength when compared to the conventional paper, while puncture resistance is even 150% higher or 2.5 times higher. Furthermore, this paper provides excellent peel characteristics, which allows aseptic presentation. The paper is combined with our Multi-X9 laminate, which is also called Green ESP, and that is produced in-house so that all the quality control is in our hands. The laminate itself, that is known for its endurance, its steam sterilization due to its strength and low post-crystallization effect after processing. In addition to that, there is a steam process indicator printed on the pouch, and the indicator that is having ISO 11140 Part 1 compliance, and the compliance that is being studied by a third-party lab. Next, please. We really have a lot of test data available on the pouch for robotic instruments, like compliance studies with ISO 11607 and EN 868 Part 5 tested by ISIGA in Germany. Then there is comprehensive data on steam sterilization in half-cycle methods in double-packed pouches tested by Lexamed in USA. In addition, Intuitive Surgical themselves, they have verified steam efficacy and drying time. All in all, there are more than 200 different Intuitive instruments available in the market. Next, please. This slide is showing the summary of the product. It consists of 100-gram steam paper and the laminate. Then there is a steam process indicator printed on the pouch. There are 4 different sizes, or actually 3 different sizes. There are 100 pieces of each product in one dispenser and 4 dispensers in one box. 2 sizes for each product type, so that the longer pouch, in case of a flat pouch, is slightly longer, like 1 inch. To ensure even the longest instrument will fit the pouch when closed by a roto sealer. Yes, next please. Here we have a few photos from a sterile processing department all the way to the operating room. This first slide is showing instrument packing and pouch sealing operations closer. Then the second slide, next please. That is taken from a sterile storage. There are processed pouches with robotic arms inside or wrists on the shelf. Then the next slide, please. This one is taken from the OR, where there is a nurse offering the instrument to a sterile nurse. And after that, next please, we have a real surgery going on that is shooted in a university hospital in Finland 2.5 years ago. In a green circle, there's a second surgeon who is installing the arm or the wrist into a patient-side card. And the first surgeon at the lower picture is doing his job at the surgeon's console. Yes, next please. Then finally, there is an embedded printing of a code on the opening end of the pouch. It will consist of secret information which can be read by using a Digimark application. This Digimark application can be downloaded free of charge, either from Google Play or App Store. Next, please. Once you scan the code using the application, it will start a demonstration video, including washing, packing, sealing, and OR operations. Besides that, the benefit is its protection against counterfeiting. Now, there's going to be a video. In this version, there is no sound or music, but you only have to enjoy the video now. Please, Yuri, next, please.
Okay. Thank you, Tommi. Thank you, Hanna. Now let's go a little bit into why to pack DaVinci instruments into STERIKING pouch again. And like it was mentioned before, then one of the main arguments here is the ease of the daily work. So basically, when you are using these pouches, it's really making your daily work easier. So simply the packing part itself is faster and it's very efficient. Second reason that was mentioned already is that you can really make a lot of savings by using this pouch. You can do savings both ways, either by reducing the number of unnecessary reprocessing cycles. So in case you are using tray or container, then you have multiple instruments inside the tray or in the container. And then if you are not using one of the instruments or some of the instruments during the operation, you still need to reprocess all of them. But in case you are using double pouching, you can take the packed instruments out from the operating room, after the operation, and then take the outer layer out and place the inner layer together with the instrument on the back onto the shelves of sterile storage. So this is a quite good possible way to reduce the cost there. Another way, of course, to reduce the cost is by that you don't need to do the repacking, so you don't need the packing materials again, and you don't need the consumables in reprocessing process, what you normally need. Third very good reason to use pouches is to improve the patient safety, and that happens in many different ways. The material, as Tommy was telling, is very strong, and you will not have compromises with the sterility very easily with this. Another reason why this is safer is that when you are using the sealing machine, you can do it repeatedly always, and it's validatable process. So the closing is always happening the same way. And altogether, when you are packing the single instruments, it's easier to make sure that you are reprocessing these instruments only the amount of times that are allowed by intuitive instructions for use. If we are looking at this fast and efficient claim first, here are two different videos. So on the left side, there will be a video where lady is packing into so-called one-step or quick check halyard wrapping. And then the lady on the right side, she's packing like double packing into the STERIKING pouches. And let's look at the videos, and you can see by yourself that what's the difference between these two methods. Okay, I'm sure that you made a lot of notes out of that by yourself, but then one of the things is very easy to see even in this picture now is that pouching is much faster. The lady on the right was not doing it even very fast or anything. She made it very calmly and everything, and it took about 30 seconds. Then the lady on the left, she needed to use liners. She needed to turn around the back. She needed to put some tapes on it. And maybe one of the questions is that how easily you can then repeat this every day many times. That is this how repeatable? While on the right side, you can actually validate the sealing process. So you can do even installation qualification, operational qualification, and performance qualification for the sealer. And then, of course, on top of this, it's very easy again for this technician there, because he can see into the pouch what was packed, and then when you have multiple instruments on the table, then it's still easy to mark them in the end that what is in each bag. So a lot of different benefits with this one. What do our customers then think about this? We have some reference cases here to show you. Our distributor in Sweden, Medic, they've been selling these robotic pouches for Sahlgrenska University Hospital now about 2 years. And this hospital used to use ultra rolls before to cut from those. And now they are happily using our pouches, heat sealable pouches. And they are telling that this pouch is simply very easy to use because then they can place all sizes of DaVinci instruments into the pouch. So they don't need to think about it, but they always just put any instrument into the pouch and then can seal it. They also told that this pouch is stronger than normal pouches, so it's protecting the instruments much better, and that there is a good drying properties. So in the autoclave, you have the drying cycle in the end, and it's important that there will be no any water drops inside. In case of using ultra, you can have these water drops time to time, as we know. Then another interesting reference is coming from our distributor in France, LTA Medical. Their salesperson, Guillaume, was collecting this kind of information from there, so that they have 4 DaVinci robots at the place, and they are doing 6 different specialties, even heart surgeries there. And what they use is this heat sealable SDV pouches from us, and they are appreciating the pharmacist of the hospital and his personnel in CSSD. They appreciate the time that they can save in the process, and also they appreciate this possibility to validate this process. And they told that it is very good that they can use the same sealer and the same sealing parameters as you can use with paper laminate products, which they are using a lot also in that hospital. Third thing that they told is important is this logo, which is printed on the pouch, which you can see here in the middle. They told that this is useful because when they are packing instruments, it's easy to always see which way to put instrument inside. So it's making it efficient when you have a lot of pouches on the table. Here are more pictures from Bordeaux University Hospital. So here they have packed XI instruments, and this is double packed, so always SDV 10 inside and SDV 20 outside. In case you're using self-seal pouches, then the codes are almost the same, but you just put another S in front, so it will be SSDV 10 for inner packaging, and then SSDV 20 for the outer packaging. Here is another picture that they have also SI robot in the hospital. So then these blue colored, where the housing is blue, those are also fitting very well into our pouches. There are more reference hospitals, or some of them, what we have received from you, from our distributors. But we are very happy if you can send more of those. This is only part of you who have been sending this to us, but we very much appreciate if you can also send from more countries some information that where are you selling and what kind of comments they have about the product. Still going back to these arguments a little bit, and then the target audience, that where do you actually sell these products, or where we can sell these products, and for what kind of people and what kind of a message we would like to give, or what is useful messages, what we have learned over this time that we've been selling. Then we can say that OR nurses is certainly one of the target groups. So they find it important that you can see into the pouch. So it's easy really to see which instrument is inside. They appreciate the clean peel. So of course it should not be any tearing when you open the bag. and no any other type of the packing failures which could be then compromising the sterility at the time when the instrument is taken into the use. They also like the fact that then if there are instruments which will not be used, it can be taken back to the sterile storage in case it's been double packed when it comes to the operating room. Then purchasing department, they like prices and the cost. So then for them, we need to talk about definitely about this, that this pouch may allow them to reduce the amount of money they are putting into the Da Vinci instruments, and that if they can avoid unnecessary reprocessing, it will be also reducing the material cost and then the cost of consumables like water, energy, detergents, rinsing agents, and so on, which are needed in washer disinfectors or in autoclaves. Then in sterile processing department, we already looked at these arguments many times, but really it is about this. It's faster to pack. You don't need too much space to do this. Pouches fit all sizes of Da Vinci instruments and also many other long instruments. And you can use the same sealing machines and the parameters to pack these as other laminate or paper laminate pouches. If you are looking at your country, then interesting things that you should be looking at is that how many robots are installed in there, and then where are these located. And good way to find it is where these are located is maybe to ask from local intuitive company, because they certainly know where the robots are. Most of the robots nowadays are installed in the United States, but numbers are also growing really fast, for example, in China, in Japan, and many of the European countries. You can find maybe more exact figures. These are maybe not exactly from today because the number of the robots is growing all the time. But here is some of the countries that we know are having the robots today. And when you're starting to estimate the market size for the robotic pouches, we have a template, an Excel template, which we will be sending you in start of next week as a follow-up message for this webinar. And then in this Excel template, you can evaluate the market size by just changing first the number of the robots that there is in the country, the number of the working days that there is for each robot in the country, and then you can put that how many operations are done per robot, and then how many instruments are used in average per operation. And then this will be calculating you the opportunity. We have put down here the selling price, or let's say I put only around selling price that we are selling this to the distributor. So of course you have to put your margin on top of this. And then of course we all know that not every hospital will be moving to peel pouches alone. They will be still using some of the trays, they will be still using some of the containers. But then this potential, what you see in this template, is obviously much higher, because then when you are using it for other laparoscopic instruments and long instruments, those are in much bigger numbers than Da Vinci instruments alone. Then together with all kind of packaging, whatever you're using, trays and wrapping them, or using containers or our pouches. We have now new robotic instrument cards. We call them RIGs. And the job of this instrument card is to protect the delicate instrument tips during the sterilization and mainly, of course, during the transportation, handling, and storage. These are made from pure cellulose or paper material, and these are, of course, free from linting, so you don't get any harmful things out of that, which would be contaminating the instrument. We have two different sizes available for different tips. So there are a little bit longer tips and longer instrument tips, and then the shorter ones, and we have two different versions of those. These are tested by Intuitive also, so that they are compatible with the DaVinci instruments. And these are printed with our distributor, our US distributor's brand, Healthmark. So there will be Healthmark branding on them, but Vipak is having exclusive rights to sell these outside of United States. So you will get them from us. Those are sold in the boxes of 400 pieces each from us. But then there are having like a shrink package inside, where is 100 pieces of those in the shrink package. Still, about the key points, I know this is very much like repeating what we have told many times, but need to repeat it again, so maybe then you remember. So we are saying here that the packing instruments individually is improving patient safety, and it is really reducing the amount your customer need to pay for the instruments. It's lowering the cost of the materials and consumables. It's saving time and space. And there are more than 200 instruments that you can pack, or from Intuitive that you can pack into these pouches. And one of the points that we did not mention before, but it's also important, that a lot of these robots are installed in bigger healthcare facilities. And then in case you are not in there, you are not selling STERIKING products earlier, this could be the key product to get in. Again, robotic pouches are perfect for many different long instruments. And then these robotic instrument guards are good at protecting the instrument tips. Finally, before stopping for today, then we are going to do end customer webinar on 30th of June. And we are now asking you, distributors, to invite your customers to this end customer webinar. This webinar will be about the same topic as we had today. So we're going to tell about the STERIKING pouches for robotic instruments. And we will have some invited speakers there. So we will have Mr. Bart Gabriel, CSSD manager from one of the hospitals in Belgium. And he will be telling how they have been using our instruments. Our pouches to pack their instruments in their hospital. They have some experience of almost 2 years doing it. And then there will be Mrs. Christine Perner from Intuitive Surgical. She's the manager for sterile processing, and she's telling things how to reprocess the instruments, and then answering frequently asked questions that they get as Intuitive from the customers. We will send a PDF invitation to you in start of next week, and then those can be spread within your customers, so you can give it to your customers, and we will then collect the list of people who is willing to attend this or who wants to attend this, and we are sending the webinar links to those people in start of May. This webinar, which will be held in June, will not be held on Teams platform. We will be using kind of a webinar platform, which is then maybe better when we have such a big number of customers in that webinar. Now, wanted to thank you for attending.